Hello everyone, my name is Abel Montalva, and today I will be presenting my PostgreSQL database configuration and security setup on my Linux server. In this presentation, I will be explaining what PostgreSQL is, how it's installed, and verify it, how I confirm using Nmap, and also discuss some important security hardening recommendations. What is PostgreSQL? Basically, is an open source relational database management system. It is used to store, organize, and manage structured data in a secure and efficient way. Many companies and web applications use PostgreSQL because it is very stable and reliable and support complex queries and large amount of data. Um, why I choose PostgreSQL? Because it is one of the most widely used databases in real world environments. It is known for being secure, scalable, and flexible. And another important reason is that it is open source, which means it is free to use and constantly improved by the community. The default ports, basically PostgreSQL runs on port 5432 by default. This port is important because it allows other systems to connect to the database. If this port is not open or properly configured, the database will not be accessible. That's why I verify it using Nmap from the Kali Linux. I install PostgreSQL on my Linux server using the apt package manager, which is the standard way to install software on Ubuntu systems. After the installation was completed, I started the PostgreSQL service, and then enable it so it automatically runs every time the system starts. This is important because it ensures that the database is always available without requiring manual intervention, which is especially useful in real world environment where uptime and reliability are critical. To verify that PostgreSQL was running correctly, I used the command systemctl status PostgreSQL, which is SQL, to confirm that the service is active and running without any errors. I also use the command sstulnp pnp to check if the port 5432 was listening on the system, which allows me to see if the database is accepting network connections. This step is important because it confirms that PostgreSQL is not only running but also properly configured and ready to accept connections from other systems. In this step, I confirm that PostgreSQL is listening on port 5432 on all network interfaces of the system. When we see the four zeros at the dots, it means that database is configured to accept connections from any network interface, not just from the local machine. This allows other systems on the network, such as Kali Machine, to connect to the database. This step is very important because if PostgreSQL is only listening on localhost, then external scans like Nmap will not be able to detect it. So, confirming this ensures that the database is properly configured and ready to be scanned from another machine. Next, I use my Kali Linux machine to run an Nmap scan against my Linux server to verify that the PostgreSQL service was visible from another system on the network. I use the command nmap sv to perform services detection, which allows me to see not only open ports but also what services are running on those ports. The result shows that port 5432 is open and especially identifies PostgreSQL on the running service. This confirms that the database is properly configured, reachable from the network, and functioning as expected, which is a key requirement for this assignment. I also configure the firewall to improve the security. Only required ports like 5432 are allowed, and unnecessary ports are restricted. This helps reduce the attack surface and protect the system. The first hardening that we're going to talk about, recommendation, is to restrict access to port 5432. Instead of allowing connections from any IP address, access should be limited to trusted systems. This reduces the risk of unauthorized access to the system. We have the second hardening, which is is to use strong authentication method. PostgreSQL supports secure authentication like Scrum SHA 256. Using a strong password and secure authentication protects the database from attacks. And the last hardening recommendation is to limit remote access. This can be done by properly configure the listen address setting and the pg underline hba.conf conf file. If remote access is not required, it should have been disabled to improve security. And in conclusion, the PostgreSQL was successfully installed and configured on my Linux server. I verified that it's running, confirmed that the port 5432 is open, and validated using Nmap. I also applied important security practices to reduce risk and improve overall system security. And these are all the references that I use. Thank you so much.